So, what do you get when you combine the biggest egomaniac in pro wrestling from the 80s with the biggest egomaniac in pro wrestling from the 90s, and then you put them in a match together in the 2000s? Well, you create a recipe for absolute and utter chaos backstage. For starters, Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels are two wrestlers planted firmly at the top of the Mount Rushmore discussions. Their accomplishments in the wrestling business go untouched. However, they are two masters of backstage politics unlike any other. Today, I attempt to uncover exactly what transpired when the single two greatest politicians in the history of pro wrestling, Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels, faced off against one another in the main event of SummerSlam 2005. Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels' paths as solo stars had never crossed on television up until the summer of '05, when the two legends formed an epic tag team. They treated fans in the arena and those watching at home to epic pose downs for a few weeks that began when Hogan was brought back for a tag match with Shawn at Backlash 2005. The segment that led up to the match saw Hogan return to Raw and save Shawn from being attacked by Muhammad Hassan and Daivari. It was epic to say the least to watch these two icons interact with each other at Madison Square Garden of all arenas, no less. Shortly thereafter, their tag match at Backlash, Shawn would turn heel on Hogan against his own wishes. HBK has stated many times in many interviews that he never wanted to be a heel again during his return run that began in '02 and ended when he retired in 2010. He felt that that part of his life had been behind him, and he just did not like the person that he was in the 90s and didn't want to bring that version of himself back. According to legend, Hulk Hogan forced a heel turn upon Shawn Michaels, stating that the only way he would work a one-on-one match with him, one of them had to turn heel, and it was not going to be Hogan. To be fair to Hogan, he was one of, if not the biggest babyfaces in WWE, even in 2005. Hogan drawing a line in the sand and creating the condition that Shawn must be the heel in their feud was the first move in the game of political chess that transpired between the two. Shawn Michaels says that he spoke to Vince and several members of the office and told them that he was not comfortable with going heel again, but he would do it if that's what Hogan really wanted. Hogan and Vince assured Shawn that that was the case. Shawn responded by saying that he was not going to hold back and he would dig really, really deep to get as much heat as possible for the match. Hogan told Shawn to not hold back in the build-up, and man, boy, Shawn did not hold back, not even a little. In the 6-week-long build that followed Shawn turning heel on Hogan, Shawn blessed us with some of his best work overall, and arguably his best heel work ever. We saw Shawn impersonate Hogan on a spoof Larry King segment, tease Bret Hart's return to WWE during a scathing promo live from Montreal, where HBK had screwed Hart just 8 years prior, and then we saw him cut a ruthless promo on Terry Bollea, the man behind the Hulk Hogan persona. Now, the Larry King segment is probably the one that is most notable here, and is the one that did not sit the best with Hogan. For those of you who have not seen this segment, it is truly a must-watch. Shawn dresses like Hogan and tears him to shreds on all things from the steroids trial to his age and balding patterns. When I saw Shawn walking into the camera shot using a walker and holding his back, I knew all bets were off. This promo obviously infuriated Hogan, but this is what he wanted, brother. He wanted Shawn to not hold back and give the people a show. Can you blame Shawn for being pissed? Firstly, he wanted a babyface versus babyface match under the premise that a match between two icons would be enough to sell a pay-per-view. Hogan wanted quote-unquote business instead, and Shawn gave him what he asked for. Originally, this feud was planned to be a best-of-3 series with Hogan winning the first match, and then Shawn winning the next, and Hogan winning the last, seemingly at WrestleMania. Shawn had no problem doing the job in the first match as long as he got his win back and was made to look like the better man since he was younger and the more active superstar at the time. Now, of course, that did not work for Hogan, brother. Brian Last joked on an episode of the Jim Cornette Experience podcast that Hogan told Shawn, "I got an idea for you, brother. How about I win all 3 matches?" Hogan's recollections of things are a little different, however. He insists that Vince made the call to have him go over since Hogan was always so popular with the audience every time he returned. He drew ratings and sold merchandise that HBK just did not. Now, I could picture Shawn having a tantrum about having to lose after he turned heel for a guy that was much older than him and wanted to beat him for no reason. Yeah, I really could. Like any good story, the truth probably lies in the middle. Shawn says that Hulk backed out of losing the first match at the last second, so he acted quote wrong and quote unprofessional, as he put it in his own words, when asked about the situation at a Q&A. Both guys have a legitimate gripe here, and this is what happens when the two biggest egos in the history of the wrestling business collide. Now, what exactly happened? It depends on who you believe. Hogan tells his part of the story, like I said, that Vince made the call for him to go over at SummerSlam, and then he says that he, quote, pulled the plug on the best of 3 series because of HBK's scathing promo the night after SummerSlam. Hogan also hilariously claims that he did not think that Shawn was making fun of him with his overselling. Well, if he looks at it that way, who am I to tell an all-time great what to think? Shawn claims that he knew Hogan had backed out of the best of 3 series shortly before SummerSlam, so that would contradict Hogan's story. Shawn seemingly wanted a best of 3 series with the 3 just competing to see who the better man was. And in Hogan fashion, that did not work for him, brother, and he reneged that idea. Either way, like I said, somebody is lying. Chances are both guys tell a fabricated story to protect their own images, which makes sense. One detail that I do find fascinating is that Hogan had no problem putting any and everybody over when he returned to WWE in 2002. He put over a laundry list of talent, and most of them in convincing ways. Triple H, Brock Lesnar, and The Rock, and so many more all enjoyed victories over the Hulkster. Why would Hulk have a problem doing the honors for Shawn Michaels? Perhaps Shawn took some liberties in some of the promos leading up to SummerSlam that Hulk just did not know about, which caused Hulk to have a problem? I don't really know what exactly happened. To be honest with you, where I land on the story is like this. Both guys likely rubbed each other the wrong way at some point after having a pretty good start to the story. Because, Shawn was a changed man by 2005 and was doing good, clean business, and so was Hulk. Something pretty serious had to occur, and I'm really not sure what it is. But yeah, like I said, something pretty serious had to happen to get these men to return to their old politician forms. I mean, Shawn was like prime mid-90s Shawn. Like, this version of Shawn Michaels that we saw in 2005 was the same version of Shawn Michaels that we saw fornicating people's wives backstage, causing nightmares for up-and-coming wrestlers, holding people down. But hey, it's the wrestling business. Now, Hulk is likely the catalyst here, since we all know how he politicked his way to beating a young and up-and-coming Randy Orton in the main event of SummerSlam 06. And of course, the infamous Batch at the Beach 2000 situation. But those are stories for another day and another video. This has been an episode of Wrestling Uncovered. Before I get out of here, I'll ask you to put your 2 cents on what you think happened that caused Shawn to oversell and make a potentially all-time classic match turn into a joke. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you on the next one. Have a great day. Thank you guys all so much for the support. I've been trying to consistently upload, and it's hard, but I want to upload at least 2 times a week, and I'm working on it, so thank you guys for sticking in there with me. Appreciate it. Talk to you on the next one.